Hello, welcome to the Trews.
Hang on, my light is awful.
Hello, welcome to the Trews. They're the best view in London, we're ignoring it. I'm with Max Keiser. There's the beautiful, priceless bit of footage, we're ignoring it. Max, because you're a financial expert, I wanted to ask you financial questions. It says here in The Independent, Wonga conspiracy. What is Wonga? What's going on with Wonga? That's a same-day loan. If you can't afford to pay for stuff out of your gyro, you go and get a Wonga loan. But what does it mean and what's wrong? What's going on?
Well, they've legalized loan sharking. Wonga is a loan shark and it's legal. And they charge up to 5,000% interest on a loan, which is outrageous. And now they've been caught impersonating lawyers to harass people for these loans that are outrageously overpriced. You know, the funny thing is that if Wonga were forced to subject to the same interest rates that they charge their customers for the fines that they now have to pay, they'd be liable for something like over $200 trillion. I mean, that's how outrageous the amount of interest that they charge. And it's a very destructive organization. They contribute mightily to the Conservative Party, so I think that's why they don't really come after and come down on Wonga, but they are really destructive to society.
Max, why is it allowed that a company like Wonga can exploit poor people and those kind of measures aren't applied to big businesses? Why?
Well, I call it interest rate apartheid. So if you're an insider and you have good connections, you can borrow money at 0%. But if you're not on the right side of the interest rate apartheid wall, you end up borrowing money at 5,000%. So it's really a divisive measure to keep poor people poor and to keep rich people rich. It's obviously that's what it's there for.
It's like a big sort of magnetic shield made of ideas going, yeah, keeping poor people there, keeping rich people up there.
Yeah, if you have to borrow money at these outrageous rates, the possibility of making money is almost impossible. Whereas if you're borrowing at 0%, you're speculating, and if the speculations go bad, the government bails you out. It's heads they win, tails you lose.
Because what do you mean? Are you referring to like the bailout of the big
bailouts
five
and the big banks, exactly. They made huge bets, they lost, and the government bailed them out. They should have been like a Wonga customer forced to go out of business.
So is it possible then, like the principles that are applied to loans for poor people, like that we could switch it, just go, right, rich people now, or like great big organisations, you're going to have to pay draconian, crazy interest rate measures, whereas people that need a bit of a leg up, we're going to give you money for free or cancel your debts.
I totally agree with that. There should be some equivalency in the way that money is lent, and if you are a speculator, the cost should be higher, not lower. And if you're a small business or someone who's on benefits or about to be on benefits, then your cost of borrowing should be low, not high.
Well, why has no political party got a policy like that?
Because this country is very sensitive to anything that might take away the froth in the housing market. Most voters, no matter what they say, at the end of the day, they think about their house price. And anything that suggests that interest rates might be going higher means that their house prices are going to go lower. And most people in Britain are scared to death of their house prices going down in value.
Is that because of Thatcher making us all buy our council houses?
Yes, it goes back to the Thatcher period where the entire country became real estate speculators.
So does that mean ideological shifts are at the heart of all change? Like the thing we can do as people is go, oh, who cares if the house ain't worth as much money?
It is an ideological shift. I mean, the idea of growth itself is a fairly new concept. Up until the 1950s, the idea in the economy was to seek balance. Only in the 1950s did they create this idea of growth, and growth at any cost. So we will bomb people for the growth. We will create interest rate apartheid for growth. We will do service bankers who are committing acts of fraud for growth. So growth has become the end-all, and as a result, it's sacrificing the entire economy and the ecology.
And I suppose that the growth, in a way, it's a limited concept because you can't just keep growing. I mean, because we've got to have a resource-based economy eventually, because the planet's only that big and there's only that many resources and there's that many people. That should be taken into account, shouldn't it?
That's exactly right. The growth is limited by definition, so this idea of infinite growth can only be catastrophic.
It's philosophically
New York, when I was in New York, we used to have all the laundromats were run by Chinese people. That's just the way it was.
Don't be racist.
Well, that's just the way it was. And they used to say, no tikkie, no shirty. If you don't have your tikkie, you don't get your shirty. We live in an economy today where it's all tikkies, no shirties. In other words,
we've only got tikkies.
That's right. The banks.
We need shirties.
The banks just print money and claims and debt based on but there's nothing backing.
Yeah, that system needs to be addressed.
We need more shirties and less tikkies.
Why have you got any shirties?
You need shirties, you need less tikkies.
I suppose because this tikkie-shirty system enables people to create that magnetic field, does it?
Well, it enables people to get fees based on the number of claims, or tikkies in this case. So the reason why banks will float multi-billion-dollar bonds against no assets at all is because they get a fee based on the bond. It's very much like the Hollywood system. In a Hollywood movie, if it's a $200 million film, the producers get based fee based on the size of the budget. They don't get paid whether or not the film makes money. That's not how they get paid.
So they benefit from a big budget.
That's right. So they're always pushing for bigger and bigger budgets because their fees are tied to the budget. Same thing in the banking industry. They want bigger and bigger debt creation, more debt, because they get paid on the size of the debt. If the debt's ever paid, or whether it makes economic sense, they don't care. They don't get paid for that.
Max, I spoke to economist man of the moment, Thomas Piketty.
Yes.
He goes to me like, capitalism is designed to create this. It's inevitable that it will create this, and it's impossible for it to be changed without sort of organised resistance. Gone are the days where this change can come within the system. Is that true?
He's talking about the fact that the system, once you achieve a certain wealth, you're guaranteed to make more money. And it creates huge gaps in society between rich and poor. That's correct. His solution about redistribution and taxes, I would disagree with. In my view, the way to redistribute the benefits in society would be to make, as you were just saying, I think that's a brilliant insight and something I totally agree with. You raise the cost of borrowing for the wealthy and you lower it for the poverty-stricken. That way you're adjusting not the rewards, but you're adjusting or redistributing the risk. That's my view. I differ from Piketty on that.
This key thing, it seems, is that we need to organise a system where poor people are represented. Now there's no representation, not even poor people. The majority of people are unrepresented. That's the problem, isn't it?
There's, unfortunately, the economy is based on creating more and more, we say, paper assets and debt, and not on productive assets and wages. And as a result, this huge schism has opened up. And the ecology, unfortunately, now is also collapsing as a result of this.
Right, okay. So things like Wonga, get rid of them altogether.
They should be burned this day. They should go to the Tower of London. It's right over there. When they had people like Wonga, a couple hundred years ago, they would be taken to the tower and beheaded. I mean, that is a deterrent. If there's no deterrent, then bankers will continue doing what they're doing. Beheading, historically, has been a deterrent.
Historically, beheading works.
It works.
So, all right. So, Max,
it works. Go with what works. Don't mollycoddle the bankers. Don't say, "Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Banker. Is there something I can get you? Oh, you're just a little baby in the woods. Just because you committed massive fraud doesn't mean we're going to penalize you. Please, Mr. Banker, don't hurt my house price." No, they should be taken down the tower and their heads should be chopped off so that other bankers see that and say, "You know what? Maybe I won't commit fraud this week." Maybe the executives of Wonga won't be thinking, "Hey, how do we rip the system off by gaming the system and sending out fake lawyers again? Because Joey, our CEO, his head is not a pike over there by the Tower of London." So you get the point. You get the point.
So policy one is we raise the price of borrowing for the wealthy, lower it for the poor. Policy two, behead bankers. Very clear policies. This is the Trews. Watch the Keiser Report. Subscribe here. Also watch the Keiser Report. Thank you very much. Cheers, Max. I enjoyed that.
Oh, that's great.
Should we go and do some beheadings? Tower of London.
Let's do it.
Is a tool that is abused to fool you and to leave you scared and confused. Trews is like the news. If the news was true, I want some Trews. Let's have some Trews.